D&D Beyond now fits in the palm of your hand with the free D&D Beyond app. It's the perfect tool set for beginners, regular players, and seasoned dungeon masters. Play faster with the guided character creator and access your character sheets, spells, and abilities wherever you go. All of your adventures and source books are at your fingertips, even when you're offline. Easily find and access the rules you need when you need them. With more features to come, download the free D&D Beyond app today.
All right, so with all that in mind, and I'm very excited to do this, let's make our first character using some cool horror tools. For those of you just joining us, my name is Dallen. I'm here with Michael Galvis and Mellie Doucette, and we are going to build ourselves a Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft inspired character. And I believe we settled on a warlock for this one, so let's...
Please?
We are just going to go on over to create a character. I'm going to add that help text because I love the help text. Randomize, always a fun option, but all right.
Then we were
I'm
also
gonna...
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I think we were talking about being a Hexblood. I just want to throw in there, I feel very strongly about Hexblood. But admittedly my favorite lineage is Reborn. Because you can say, I don't know who brought me back. I don't know why I'm alive. I don't know where this limb came from. I don't know what this symbol is. There's so much roleplay opportunity in there. There's so much of this sort of like, I just want to throw out Mollymock. Like, his sort of backstory is that he just came up out of nowhere and he has no idea who he is or where he came from. And no spoilers for Critical Role, but
I
what
promised
happened.
I would fight for Hexblood, so I would like to raise you. But hey, Hexblood, maybe you don't know who cursed you. It could be a generational curse, and you have to find out what it is. Maybe you don't even know you're cursed. Only other people can see that you're cursed. I'm fighting for the witches as I promised I would. But I also love the Reborn. It's very cool.
Well,
we
I
are
love
going to...
Hexblood has some like really great features that I'm totally down to build a Hexblood just because mechanically they just have so much to work with.
It's very fun. And I don't know who will speak for the Dampiers, but I do love that they are poised between the worlds of the living and the dead. That is a classic archetype. Honestly, I'm sorry, Comic Book Brain is going to show up to every stream, but like Blade, obviously. But many versions of what we would describe as Daywalkers would fit into this. And you get some wonderful possibilities. But I think it's between Hexblood and Reborn, and I'm gonna tie break, and we're gonna go Hexblood, I think.
I will also say, good. The chat was also voting Hexblood, so I think we went right. And Reborn, amazing, and very cool things with Reborn. But hey, people will be able to have fun with that as they go to create their characters.
And of course, one thing I love about the Hexbloods is that they have a distinctive physical feature that I really love, is that they've all got this permanent sort of crown, and you can see in the art that sometimes it's bone and sometimes it's antlers, and it could be inspired by which version of a hag may or may not have been involved with you becoming or being born as a Hexblood. I love that very much. So you get things like ears that split in forked points, skin in bright shades of purple or green, or what's the purple, green, and there's that wonderful... I'm going to flip back over. This is how I actually create characters, is just flipping back to the sources constantly. You're learning a lot about me today, and I accidentally opened it in a new tab. We're fine.
I often have like 10 tabs open when I'm making a character. I'm like looking at what have other people built. Like, let me check out feats. Maybe I want to check out maybe a different race would work, or maybe a different lineage. I am right there with you. I am all over this website when I am trying to make a character. I think I spent 5 days making just a Circle of the Moon druid this past week.
That's incredible. And you're covering for me beautifully, but why am I failing in my quest for the lineages? Are they not on this
So
page?
no, so you will find them if you go to sources and then Van Richten's.
Yep. That's how I usually do it. Why would I depart from the way I usually do it today? I don't know. Because we're live
And then
on a
they're in
stream
chapter
and I've
1.
forgotten how buttons work.
It's always how it happens. Yeah.
All right. So we know this is the point where I will always start doing inspiration by going back through and looking at the various information on the lineage here. So here we go. That's what I was. Hexblood's infused with the magic of sea, green, and anise hags. Share a moment around the cauldron. And I took a lot of inspiration from this piece of art when I was building my Hexblood. I'm curious, do you all have a vote as to which version our Hexblood should be?
My only vote is that they have like very jewel tone green skin. Is that something we can do?
Yes.
Jewel tone green.
Green hags. And here is the point where I know we have limited amount of time, but I'm having too much fun. So we're just going to show off. If this is how I build characters, it takes a long time.
Yep.
I would go straight here.
And just type in hag. Yeah, I was thinking like that.
yeah.
What's it? Beer. I can't pronounce it, but Boer hag. You just said
Both?
it's super gross and weird, but it doesn't have green skin, and I'm in favor of green skin. Look at that, just the long limbs. I just have a thing with like limbs that are wrong. That's like a horror thing that I lean into in anything. It doesn't even need to be horror. In my players will attest. I'm like limbs that are like kneading bread and limbs that are too long or too short. I'm just like, yeah, we're doing it.
Features of especially the impossible versions of that would sort of
Yeah.
All right. So your
Well,
standard
what
green
if we
hag.
went with
Beautiful.
What if we say that our character they were previously cursed by this hag that you mentioned, Mellie? I don't know how to pronounce it.
The Boer.
None of us do.
The
We
Burr
could click
hag.
the pronounce button and hear somebody say it, and then we'll know.
Oh, yes. Wait, do we have sound from my
Amy.
tab?
You'll hear
I'll just
it.
repeat it.
You'll have to say it to us.
Burr hag. It's a Burr hag.
Burr hag. Oh, like you get a
Burr hag.
burr on your, you just walked into a forest, you came out with a burr instead of burrs on your clothes.
I love this because the Bursla hags live in wintry lands favoring snow-covered mountains. They become more active during winter, using their ice and weather magic to make life miserable for nearby settlements. So their skin is traditionally blue-white, but I feel like you could get sort of blue-white, like it's not a jewel tone green, but you can sort of push towards like a blue-green
we can even push to like, maybe we push to getting some inspiration from like the aurora of the north. You can pull in some jewel tones out of there.
Yes, because
It's
these
magic.
they love their winter environments. So I'm actually kind of picturing like a sort of icy moss sort of color as well.
Yeah. Why not give them like hair that's kind of iridescent? 'Cause it's just pretty.
What form would the crown take? Is it sort of ice crystals?
That's gorgeous. I would love that.
But they need to look sort of corrupted in some way. So maybe the veins of the mossy green are running through them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
great.
or maybe it has black veins running through it.
Yeah, or black, or there's maybe like, the bones of something that died in ice and has been like just kept there. You have just small animals or bugs and stuff that are just forever entombed.
Yes. Okay, ice filled with small bugs, if that's okay. Like and the black streaks running through it. That's what we've got. And that's what's involved in choosing your lineage in D&D. Can someone roll me a d6?
Yes.
Yes, I
Roll a
can.
D6
Oh,
for you.
you got it, Michael. Do it.
You don't, of course, have to use these tables to guide your character creation, but it's fun to see. We got a 2. Fae kidnappers swapped you and your parents' child. The classic move. Do we
Not
like it for our
again.
character?
I'm into it.
Yes. Love it.
All right.
Maybe you were formerly
Can I propose?
Yes.
They
Good.
swapped. So this is a northern hag. They swapped them. I feel like the child that is in your place now, looks like a child, right? But is actually like a snowman kind of deal. Like if you
Like a
remove
snow
the hag
construct?
magic from them, you just have a snow child.
I picture like an actual snowman. Like a
Yeah,
Olaf
like if
Frozen
so
kind of
they
situation.
they look like a person, but hey, if that kid dies or something, it's revealed that, they were just snow all along.
Oh,
Because
that
they
is
aren't
a
the real
good
child.
twist.
Yes, I love it. And I would like to pitch, if we are from one of the domains, we know that I believe Victor Mordenheim and Lamortia is a domain of ice and snow.
Yes.
So there's a lot of mountains that our particular Burhag could have come out of to sneak into one of the desperate communities around a major Lamortia city. So pitching for
Yeah.
Lamortia as our origin.
Absolutely. And it's all about, transforming, the original form of something into something else and it becomes monstrous, so it's totally fitting.
Now, if we were struggling there are, of course, suggested domains here, which I love very much. I was planning to pitch Tempest, but then I changed my mind when we picked the Burhag.
Tempest
all
is
right.
just amazing. Just like that all of, so many of the people there are Hexbloods. That just gives you so many opportunities for parties visiting there or just parties that are from there. It'd be so cool.
So along with our choice, we are going to get a lot of sort of adapted versions of the classic things. Of course, we have a speed, we have a size. Our creature type is going to be Fey. And we get Hex magic, which I love very much. You can cast the Disguise Self and Hex spells with this trait. Once you cast either of these spells with this trait, you can't cast that spell with it again until you finish a long rest. You can also cast these spells using any spell slots you have. Which is probably going to combo nicely with the rest of our choices here. And Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma is your spellcasting ability for these spells, which we will choose since we're making this person at start and not converting them, we'll just get to do that. Let's talk about eerie tokens.
These things are so cool. You get like the telepathic message. So you pull out like a lock of hair, you pull out one of your nails or a tooth, and you can pass it off
Harmlessly,
to
it says.
someone. Harmlessly. I don't know how you harmlessly pull out a nail, but I suppose it's one of the great powers of the Hexblood. And you get
Flavor-wise?
yeah, so you get you can just pass off this little token and you get like half of a sending spell, that has a range of up to 10 miles, which I think is such a neat way. The first thing that comes to mind is like you have a shopping episode in your campaign. You're just like, okay, well, when are we going to meet up? Oh, here, flip. Here, take this nail. I'll let you know when I'm back at base and we can hang out again.
Flavor-wise, I just want to say I would love the idea of, we have this, harmless token, we pull it off, and it gets encased in an ice crystal, and it's like a little snow globe that they give people.
I love
with
that.
like nail clippings instead of,
Yeah.
You give it a shake
You
and there's
shake
just
it and there's
dandruff.
like a tooth and then just some powder snow.
So your eerie token can also give you remote viewing, which could come very much in handy. Once you create a token using this feature, you can't do so again until long rest, at which point your missing part regrows. And I love the way that this mechanically takes super creepy stuff and makes it just like, oh, it's a useful part of your everyday life, which being a Hexblood is sort of like, this is just who you are now. This is, a way you have to communicate. All right. So all that said, we've accomplished one step in our choices.
We're already moving faster than I typically move in character creation.
Yeah, I know. I'm like,
why did I think I could do this
How long can we stream for?
Do we want to wait on our ability score increases until we set those later, or just do we have an idea now of what we might want to do?
I say
did we
go
decide that we're
charisma.
going with the Warlock? Because then we gotta go charisma. I mean, hags. They just have that charismatic bent.
Who doesn't love a Burhag?
Everybody loves Burhags. I hear
I
Oh, I
say,
was gonna say, sorry, as we just start quiet for a second, I was like, I hear they're really good, people to invite to tea parties if you got cupcakes involved.
Cupcakes for Burhags on the to-do list. Frozen cupcakes, though, I guess. Where do we want to put
I
our
mean,
second
they'll
one?
keep for longer. Hmm.
Can I argue for a flavor choice?
Yes, please.
I feel like a con bonus would reflect our
Yes.
hex-blooded nature.
And also living in the cold.
Yeah, we're like being a Burhag-based hexblood. I'm gonna put it in con. We get some languages. Anybody got a call here?
I always love to pick Sylvan. That's a personal choice. I think it could kind of work for this character. If you're in the north, maybe there's spots of wilderness that you might have to pass through.
I love it. Let's go medium. I feel like we're sort of standard humanoid size.
Feeling it?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And we have our dark vision, our eerie token, our hex magic. We want to put a charisma.
Yes,
Yes. Yeah.
absolutely.
And then popping back up here, a couple of skills. What
Or
do
not
we
survival.
think?
Survival. I was also gonna say, if we look at the Burhag itself, if we want to get some inspiration there, it's got nature, perception, stealth, and survival as its skills.
That's a really smart approach. And see, I'm glad I opened all these tabs. Which I definitely
You need
did on
all these
purpose.
tabs. They're very important.
Not just because I love to have a million tabs. Oh man, yeah, the Burhag has an ice walk. The hag can move across and climb icy surfaces without needing to make an ability check. Which would, man, now I'm imagining like a Burhag Hexblood Ranger. It's fine. But survival and want to go nature?
Yeah,
I'm
let's go
down for it.
nature.
All right. Y'all, this is real fun. How often can we do this? Okay, now it's time for the class. And I know, Michael, you had some thoughts on why people might want to choose the, I should add it first, the Warlock subclass.
Undead.
Where do...
Yes, so I love this subclass, and it's the reason why I'm playing it in our Wednesday games. The first level ability is just so packed full of features. It really makes you feel really well rounded. So, Form of the Dread is the first level ability that you get out of your subclass. It gives you temporary HP. You can frighten a creature that you hit with an attack, and you gain immunity to the frightened condition. That temporary HP at low levels, it could mean the difference between being alive through your early levels or straight up just being dead. But I also really love the ability to frighten creatures because depending on how you build your warlock, you may be trying to stay out of melee range. And so being able to hit a creature with the frightened condition could mean that if they do get in range of you, then there's a lower chance that you're going to get hit. If you decide you want to go melee based warlock, then that frightened condition could help you avoid getting hit when the boss monster decides that they want to turn on you with their 3 attacks. You also get some really great features later on. At 6th level, you get Grave Touched, which increases the damage you deal with your attacks while you're in your Form of Dread. You get Necrotic Husk, which is probably the most flavorful subclass feature that I have ever seen. You can explode, basically, and then you come back to life. If your table is unaware of the Necrotic Husk ability, pulling this out when you would die is going to get a lot of screams at the table. And then at 14th level, of course, you have your Spirit Projection, which is just chock full of bonuses to your character and opens up opportunities to where you're doing scouting missions as a spirit.
which honestly would tie very well in with this character who can, have this remote viewing thing really far away. So like, hey, I've just seen this and we have this information and now we can like go and scout this other thing that we don't have a remote viewing thing set up, but we got this information that now, this is a very good intrigue character, this spy almost that we've created.
I love that. All right. And I know, Michael, you also had some thoughts on sort of build tips once we've picked, and we're not actually going to be level 20. I just wanted to let's go. What we decided maybe 6 was a good. Now it's mad at me for leveling down, but we're doing it. We're gonna start around
do it.
level 6. What are some thoughts on building in a Warlock Pact of the Undead?
So I think we should first decide, do we want to focus on being a ranged Warlock or if we want to go into melee? Because I think both are viable options, but they could affect what we decide to pick.
My vote is for range. I feel like because we've invested it not in dexterity, so our AC is not going to necessarily be the best. And also, I feel like we've got all of these things that let us do things from a distance. I want to lean into that.
I like it. Let's go
love
ranged.
that. All right. So if we're going to be going ranged, let's see. So, oh man, there's so many good invocations. This is why I love the Warlock classes, because there's so many invocations to pick from that are all viable. So there's always that combo of getting the Devil's Sight invocation and then pairing that with the Darkness spell at 2nd level, or you get it at 3rd level. It's a 2nd level spell. Devil's Sight lets you see through magical darkness. Darkness it creates an area of magical darkness, so you could effectively blind your enemies without blinding yourself, which of course gives you advantage on your attack rolls against them. You also, of course, have the quintessential invocation, the Agonizing Blast, which adds your Charisma modifier to your Eldritch Blast. 5th level, you get Maddening Hex, which can increase your damage when you have Hex on a creature. So there's just so much. Where do we start? I don't know where to start.
Okay, first I'm going to start by just wheedling as a player in the imaginary campaign. I know we're all making this PC together. Could we decide with our DM that we are going to flavor the Magical Darkness spell to be whiteout blizzard conditions?
Yes. Yes. Yes, yes.
I'm just saying.
There is something so terrifying about whiteout. I love going to scare parks, and at the Queen Mary Dark Harbor, they had this one thing that was like these shipping containers all attached, and one of the rooms was pitch black. And, that was scary, but, whatever. We're used to, I think, dark being scary. There was somebody that would pop up. But then there was one area that was fog and bright lights. It was white. And like you could not see anything. Like you had to either just follow the wall, but then people would pop up and block your path, or just wander out. And I got out, my friends, I turned back thinking they were behind me. It took them 20 minutes to get out of there. So like blinding white is actually really disorienting, way more than darkness is. And I love it.
All right, so that's my pitch.
If you've ever driven through dense fog, like on the highway,
it's scary.
Yeah.
All right. Talk me back through our choices. Sorry, so I make sure I put the right one in the right place. Our Eldritch invocations.
I feel like Agonizing Blast is a must take if you're going to be focusing on casting Eldritch Blast. Do we want to do the Devil's Sight Darkness combo?
Yeah.
Oh, I immediately fell in love with that. Yes. We have Dark Vision, but obviously this will allow the combo.
Yeah.
What
and then
invocation, or not invocation, what boon are we thinking of taking? Because that might impact our last choice too.
I think if I love the one that gives you Find Familiar. I feel like that's very flavorful of a pick. You just have this
I'm
little
down for it.
creature who just wandered over to you from your patron, and maybe you don't like them. Maybe they just won't leave you alone.
I
I
will
love
say-
that, and I'm very into it. But also, I want to raise also the talisman pact from Tasha's, because it's also a way to tie in our like weird, taking things off thing. And I like the idea of tricking people using it, because this is a helpful thing. I am actually going to help you with it, but also I'm going to use it to spy on you later.
Oh, messed up.
There's something
messed up.
very like twisted about it that I like.
And
Let's
I
do
know,
it.
Michael, you had some thoughts on the on Pact of the Blade as pertained to this build.
Yes, so if you were to go melee, you would want to take Pact of the Blade just to make yourself a little more potent when you're swinging a sword or what have you. I don't think it will work so much for this build, but definitely recommend if you ever want to go Pact of the Blade, but you don't want to go Hexblade, Undead is a really great option because of the features that you get early on help protect you when you're surrounded by enemies.
I love it. Can we go Talisman to see if we can just double it up with the Eerie tokens?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
All right. So now we're gonna pick a level 5 invocation. Anybody got a fave?
I love Maddening Hex. That's more optimized. If you want to optimize your damage, go Maddening Hex. But if we're going Talisman, there's a really great option. I think it's Rebuke of the Talisman. Rebuke of the
Yeah.
Talisman. So it reads, when the wearer of your talisman is hit by an attacker you can see within 30 feet of you, you can use your reaction to deal psychic damage to the attacker equal to your proficiency bonus and push them up to 10 feet away from the wearer of the talisman.
Okay. But on the other hand, Maddening Hex does pair very nicely with us being hex-blooded and the fact that we get extra daily hex use.
That is very, very true. They're both so good, but hey, we could pick another one at a higher level, if we keep playing this character farther.
We could, at 4th level, pick up Eldritch Adept and just get both.
That's so true. Take the feat.
Why not both?
Let's do that. All right.
I'm
Hopefully,
in.
I hope everyone's staying with us. We're ping-ponging around the options because I'm having a lot of fun. Let's pick up. So at our 4th level, we're gonna go ahead per feat. Eldritch Adept? Adept?
Yes.
Yeah.
Adept? What's that word said?
Adept.
And we're gonna do both Rebuke of the Talisman and Maddening Hex. Nope, I'm doing it wrong.
It may show up
No,
a
that's
little
good.
higher up. Does it give you another invocation option?
I got lost in my own options. Okay. Setting cult lawyer, you've been locked into power within yourself. You learn one eldritch into each option of your choice from the Warlock class. Okay, so this might be something.
Yes, so I believe actually that because there is no way to like verify, hey, you're a warlock with the right prerequisite,
Right.
that this is not currently supported. So basically we can leave it blank and we can just add it directly to the character sheet.
We're gonna fix this one because, of course, yes, I'm trying to do all of the options at once in any given order, and that's giving us the standard warlock options and not our additional ones. But of course, here's our Grave Touched, which I'm just very excited by because I just love all of the like you're not quite dead, but somehow this is worse options that got built into
Yes.
Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. All right, so we need a couple of skills, and then we are set on the basic class stuff, and we're gonna probably run out of time before we can settle absolutely everything else. So you know
I
what?
would like
I'm gonna
to vote for stealth because
Yep.
A, walking through snow, gotta be stealthy, and B, we're going with this kind of subterfuge sort of Hexblood.
We might need to pick that up somewhere else along the line
right,
because it is not one of our Yeah, our standard options here. I know we're thinking spies already, so we're already thinking sort of subterfuge. But that might be something for us to look out for when we're filling the character out with our background choice. I will say, so we are gonna run out of time. I got too excited about this stream. But we would need. I'm not gonna feel right, without at least a name, y'all. What is the name? For our Hexblood Warlock Pact of the Undead.
Would the hag want to, like, give they traded this child out? Would they want to give them like a very like kind of creepy you're a hag kind of name, or would they want to be like, you are this perfect, beautiful child who represents the beauty in the world that now I possess? What angle?
The different hags have different motivations in that way. And I do like a Burhag loves watching unprepared people suffer and die for their mistakes during the winter, delighted when mortals make pathetic attempts to survive. I would say that leans me in the direction of a name that conceals our deadly danger, and she hopes that we will make people suffer, rather than leaning with the terrifying.
Yeah,
and I know hag.
I go ahead.
Well, there's a guide to hag names if you're sort of properly naming hags, which I would normally open a new tab and look up. But we will leave that aside in favor of our more specific dialed-in character concept.
Yeah, I want to then lean towards something like Aurora again, because it is this beautiful winter thing, but it just lures you into the deadliness of this. And, it also then ties in, Aurora being the Sleeping Beauty thing, and you have all these other just fairy tale connections that can be fun to go with.
I love that.
It's a great name.
And hags will typically have sort of a descriptor, a common first name, and a sort of last name that's, I made one named Mudwallow. But it's folksy kind of. But we can just start with Aurora.
Love it.
We are out of time. Shoot, I'm so sorry.
No.
Top 3 spells that you want to make sure our warlock has, because we didn't do spell picking at all. Michael, any quick tips?
First level spells, Hellish Rebuke, of course. You don't need Armor of Agathis, I don't think, since you already get temporary HP from Form of Dread. Love Charm Person for a sort of hag type character. Protection from Evil and Good is just kind of good to have. Second level spells, Misty Step. That's very creepy. You can turn into maybe some snow. Phantasmal Form, which you get from your subclass, is a really great option. Shadow Blade, if you're going to be melee. Hold Person's always good. Darkness pairs well with our Devil's Sight. And then at third level, I'm looking at Fear for it's very flavorful and it matches well with our subclass. And then Spirit Shroud is very cool. It increases your damage and also is very spooky.
And it won't show me my character sheet until I assign some abilities. So we've already popped in top choice charisma. What's our dump stat?
Maybe.
I know I'm making do it in 10 seconds. What?
Maybe intelligence. If you have spent your life kind of isolated from everyone else, maybe you don't have access to the same material.
It's a nice, it's a nice kind of twist, especially with Lamortia being very like science and discovery. This is an outsider for that. I like that a lot.
I have now
wisdom that has to be higher.
What? Say that again?
I was gonna say wisdom has to be higher because it's like, you're a survivalist. You're outside of this. You're a little whoopy.
I'm actually gonna.
That's a word.
All right. My very arbitrarily chosen arrangement for the rest of these, because we're very hardy. We're more sneaky than strong if we're leaning into our ranged subterfuge kind of build. And obviously very incomplete. But here we have Aurora, the Hexblood Warlock, level 6. I feel like our gray background is already kind of playing to the ice and snow, but we can obviously choose our own backdrop and frame and theme, and start dialing in the rest of this, and maybe pick up some equipment. That would probably be good. And some spells. But thank you all for joining me. Thank you, Mellie and Michael, for being my buddies on my very first Let's Make a Character live on stream. I learned a lot about myself, such as I like to have 6 tabs and take 100 hours. Important knowledge to take away. But final thoughts, please, on our character build for today, or the things that you like in the Veneration's Guide player options, Michael.
Well, first off, this was the fastest character I have ever made. Absolutely love the lineages offered here. Really great opportunities for DMs and for players who want to maybe switch things up midway through a campaign and just kind of see how that change affects your character development.
Mellie?
Yeah, very similar. I'm very, very excited about this character. I love them to pieces, but also the lineages. I love how open they are, that you don't have to be like, this is what, this race of people is like. You can apply that to so many different things. That we did, this kind of more humanoid person, but hey, you could have been like, they're a doll that is a Hexblood. Like, there's so many options, and I love
The
that about
Carrionette's
lineages.
got Mellie too!
Oh. I honestly, I might go willingly. I haven't decided. But yeah, I just think there's so many potential options that you have, and it just opens up your creativity. So have fun with them.
All right, one by one, we are all being replaced either by body taker plants or just straight up by carrionettes. You'll have to keep tuning in to D&D Beyond to find out. Thank you all so much for watching today, and we will see you next time.
It's D&D.